Morning, everybody. 8:10 a.m., July 25th. Welcome to my channel. Big, big sell off yesterday. One of the largest in a couple years since 2022. Over 3% in the NASDAQ, over 2% in the S&P 500. Big, big sell off. Structurally, I was not surprised. Structurally, if this happened, I talked about the big level, 55.30. In the pre-market video, explained how big a level that was, and if we took it out, market could fall, and it did. For my sake, unfortunately, it didn't really give me opportunity for a trade setup. Even though I was not surprised that this could happen. Okay, but I don't have anything to show for it. But that's fine. That's trading, because some days you just don't have a trade setup. I mean, I knew it was super weak, but risk to reward is what I care about, and it really didn't have a risk to reward. I did have something towards the end of the day, not the end of the day, maybe like yeah, towards the middle of the day. I think I had to take my daughter to the doctor, so I was looking at 545 in the SPY. It kept being resistance. Also hit the 15-minute 9 EMA, and that was the only thing. But the market fell so much already that I still wasn't in love with it. But that was the only thing I saw. But I had to take my daughter to the doctor. I probably wouldn't have taken it anyway, just because it fell so far already. But that was about it. So the market just moved really. Didn't give me. I thought I was going to get another chance at 55.30 to kind of like pop up there. It really didn't. Really didn't give you much chance. But pretty nuts. I mean, pretty nuts. It wasn't an all-out sell-off, but it doesn't matter. The market cap weighted stocks is what moves markets. Okay, and tech took a beating. So that's what moves markets, right? Because other stocks that I have, like NextEra Energy, was good. McDonald's, PepsiCo, General Mills. There's a couple other ones. Can't remember them right now. That like are a little more defensive. Oh, Johnson and Johnson. Those stocks went up yesterday. So it wasn't all out. Healthcare was positive. So it wasn't like an all out sell off. But the markets move on the heavy market cap weighted stocks. We all know that. Okay. So it doesn't mean that everything just tanked. Okay. Now, without further ado, let's get into this. All right. Welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. I use market profile and volume profile to find structure in these markets. All right. And I showed you guys that bonus yesterday of how high volume nodes work, and it couldn't have been any more perfect timing because that's what we got, and we can review that. Okay. I also use supply and demand, gamma exposure levels, the most traded price of the year, the most traded price of the month and the week and the previous day. All helps me find structure because this is my edge. Okay. But sometimes your edge doesn't always provide you with a setup, and that's what happened yesterday. So my edge, my market profile, and volume profile, all those levels provided me the structure and the that this could happen. So it was no surprise, but it just didn't give me a trade. So that happens sometimes. Okay, that happens sometimes. So if you can subscribe and set an alert if you haven't done so already. All right. And also give me a like or a thumbs up if you enjoy my content. That means a lot to me. I'm trying to build this channel. That'd mean a lot. All right. You can always follow me at x.gonzo719 as well. All right. Now, we have a watch list to get into. So why don't we do that and see what these futures are doing. All right. Don't know who's out there, but welcome, welcome, welcome. Say hi if you want. I know Muhammad has been there last couple of days. I don't know if Chief, my girl Zita, if she's in the room right now. Not sure who's there. I see this guy G-Man sometimes pop up. But if If you want to say hi, say hi. If you don't, stay in the shadows. It's all good with me. Let's check out this VIX. Woo! Boy, 18.76 VIX. We got some fear, folks. Good morning, G-Man. We got some fear in the markets, up for a 3.99%. And what do we got? People are buying bonds. 30-year bonds are being bought this morning. What is that going to do? It's going to drive up TLT, right? It's going to drive up TLT. Let's see if this yield curve inverts, right? So, you don't want 10-year notes to have a lower yield than 2 years, okay? So we have to see. All right. Sometimes that signals a recession. I mean, every time it has, but we'll have to see. 10-year yield should be lower today. The Dow is flat. The Russell's down 0.12. The dollar is down 0.16. ES down 0.22. Nasdaq's down 0.32. Crude, almost down 2%. Bitcoin down 2.12%. Gold down 2.12%. Ether, the ETFs came out down 5.5%. Right? Silver's down 5 point. No, yeah, silver's down 5.44. Very volatile metal is silver. That little silver is a little finicky little thing. All right. Moving on to the Mag 7 Plus. Who's leading the pack? Amazon. Amazon is up 0.43. That's about it. All right. Now let's get to the bigger laggards here. Semis around the world, they're getting hit. So we got AMD is down 0.57. Broadcom down 0.59, Apple's down 0.65. They had some news out of China that their market share is going to be lowered a couple points. Tesla taking a beating, down 1.13%. Nvidia is down 1.58%. Coinbase down 1.67% with the weakness in Bitcoin. Okay. Now Bitcoin is seeming to maybe go back to the 60K level. We'll have to see if that happens or not. See if it happens or not. All right, let's move on to the top sector stocks. Salesforce leading the pack, up 1.29%, followed by PepsiCo, Costco. That's safety. That's safety, folks. PepsiCo, Costco. That's staples. Okay. Now laggards. We got Uber. Exxon down 0.62. Qualcomm's a semi down 1.42. Eli Lilly is down 1.85%. All right, I'm gonna keep my eye on that Eli Lilly. Okay, and that Ozempic. All right, keep my eye on that. All right, now let's go to the swing trade list. That's not the swing trade list. This is the swing trade list. Who's leading the pack? Viking Therapeutics up 15.35%. ServiceNow, believe they had earnings, up 6.45. Hasbro, they had earnings up 6.36. Okay, forget the what ticker that is. This is Raytheon. I believe that's Raytheon, up 3.17. I believe they reported earnings. IBM reported earnings up 2.98%. There's TLT up 1.27%. Chipotle reported, and they had good earnings. They're up 1.1%. All right, let's see. That's really all the stuff that's moving good. Laggards. Woo! Edward Life Sciences is getting destroyed. Okay, down 22.69%. Ford had missed earnings. They're down almost 13%. American Airlines down. They reported earnings down 7.08%. Southwest down 5.67. These are some big losers here. Honeywell down 4.29%. AstraZeneca down 4.44%. Some big losers here. Waste Management is down 4.32%. Micron down almost 4%. It's down 3 points. This is some big techies. Western Digital. Hard drives down 3.49. ARM, this is all semi, right? ARM down 3 points. These are all big losers here. Riot with the Bitcoin. Lululemon down 2.96%. They got a downgrade. Price target lowered. Super Microcomputers. This is just a bloodbath right now. MicroStrategies, that 10 for 1 split's coming up, down 2.85%. Junior Miners down. Lucid down. I mean, this is a lot of losers here. Palantir, Mara, Hood. I mean, we can go on and on here. I mean, these are all 2%ers. Unbelievable. CrowdStrike still with that horrible apology with the $10 gift certificate. Horrible. Horrible. I even thought about buying that dip that day that went down, CrowdStrike. And I just said, you know what? I don't know what's going to happen, how they're going to handle this. Their market share obviously is huge, but I'm holding off. Holding off. Okay? This is a bloodbath in the swing trade list. Woo! Bloodbath. All right, let's move on. Two sectors. This is what moves that S&P 500, folks. Let's look at it. What do we got here? Let me get this out of here. Let me get this. Just moving my stuff around here. Financials leading the pack up to 0.26. Staples. So you got financials and you got staples. Utilities. Utilities had a nice day. NEE had a nice day, even though they missed a little bit. It just flight to safety. Okay. Now, two, if bonds are bought, yields go down, right? Then people are going to want to buy utilities because people buy them for the dividends. Okay. Um, let's look at this. Laggards, semiconductors, bloodbath, down 1.17%, followed by healthcare, that was up yesterday, followed by energy, followed by technology. Okay. Communications is flat. So that's what's going on right now, folks. That's what's going on. All right. Now let's get into the news. Let's get into the economic calendar. Let's go over things that I probably already talked about, but let's just do it. Today we got GDP. Let's do it. All right. We got durable goods GDP growth at 8:30. So let's see if that pops the market up. GDP. Let's see if that market does anything. Got initial jobless claims as well. If this number is hot, that's actually bullish. If the number's hot, okay, that's about it. Tomorrow core PC, that would be pretty big. Okay. Now, there was something here yesterday. New York Fed president. Let me see if I can highlight this. Hopefully you guys can see. Oh boy. Where'd that go? I hate that when you do that. That's annoying. This Fed Dudley talked about we need to cut rates now. He's, I believe, the New York Fed um, president. He talked about we need to cut rates now. So that's what I was going to show you guys, but I'm just talking about it. So it doesn't matter. It's there. Okay. It's there. Now, let's go over to some earnings. Okay. Well, some other news here. All right. So, Ford missed numbers down 13%. Talked about Chipotle, rose 2.6. IBM is up 3.1. Hasbro up 11% after the toy maker posted a smaller than expected drop in second quarter as a steady digital gaming demand offset a slump in toy sales. Interesting. And then you got Southwest down 5.8. American Airlines, bad. Royal Caribbean, stock fell. Harley Davidson, stock rose. That's about all I want to talk about there. Let's go over here. Talked about the Ford. Talked about American Airlines just there. Apple, that's what I want to talk about. Apple says China market share shrinks as Huawei surges. Data shows. Okay, Boeing finalizes 737 MAX guilty plea deal. U.S. outlines reasons. All right, let's look what others going on here. Edwards Life Sciences. Let's just talk about this. It says the company missed second quarter revenue estimates on Wednesday, hurt by lower than expected demand for its artificial heart valves. Edwards reported revenue of 1.39 billion, falling short of analyst estimates of 1.65 billion. That's why it was down. Okay. Let's look at anything else here that to note. There's the RTX, that's Raytheon. So Raytheon, the U.S. aerospace and defense company, raised its full year profit forecast driven by rebound in the broader commercial aviation sector. Pretty good. Pretty good right there. Okay. ServiceNow, we know that they reported earnings, they're doing good. Let's see here. There's a lot of news, boy. Just going through it. Just combing through it. Here's some notable recommendation. AT&T raises target price to 23 from 21. Chipotle, Piper Sandler cuts target price to 56 from 60. That's interesting. IBM raises target price to 190 from 185. ServiceNow target price 850 from 830. Okay. All right, I think that's about it here. We got our earnings calendar. Let's just pop it up real quick. So you saw all those things I talked about reporting this morning. Today after the close, we got Skechers. Let's see here. Anything really big? Not really. And then on Friday, Bristol Myers Squibb, 3M, Charter Communications, Colgate, Palmolive, T. Rowe Price. So nothing big coming up. Okay. Nothing big. All right. Let's get to those daily charts. Why don't we do daily charts? Okay. Get right into this. Now, notice I talked about where this market could go yesterday. I talked about it. Okay. And I said 50-day moving average. Remember I said look at this price across 542, 541, 50-day moving. Yeah, it's exactly where we went. So boom, this trend line is goner. Right? This was kind of broken, so I don't even get rid of this. Okay, so look at that large selling. Okay, large selling came right to this key support area. You look to the left, that's a lot of support right there. Okay, it's a lot of support. Now there's a gap here right at like 539, right? So that would bring us down to 537. Then you got a trend line here right there, like 535. Where does that line up with this support? Around 533. Okay. Now, where are we at now? We're at 540. We're right at the lows of yesterday. Right now. Okay. Right at the lows. Now, that's a pretty big selling day. Now, do you get continuation? I don't know. Okay. But you also can get a little bounce and sideways movement. Okay. Take a rest. We'll see. Okay, because you're at a very key level. Now let's look at the live view of futures and see what we did. So in futures, we ripped through the 50-day moving average, right? So it's a little different. Futures ripped through the 50-day, closed under it, right? SPY, a little different. But look, this is what we're doing right now. We're down here right now. Okay, we're down here. And you got the next key level, I would probably say right here, 54.30, 54.30 in the futures. Okay. So that's the live look. Now if we zoom out here, I don't think that trend line lines up. It doesn't matter. Okay. All right. Now, Qs. The Qs. Whew. The Qs. Wow. Okay. Broke this trend line. That is broken. That is broken. Okay. So we filled this gap right here. Filled the gap. We didn't quite come down to 460. We might today finish off this move because you can see it was resistance, resistance, support, support. Very key level, 460. Very key level. Okay. We blew through the 50-day moving average in the Qs. Blew right through it. Boop. Like it wasn't even there. Hot knife through butter. Right? Where are we now? 461.50. 461.50. So we are gapping down right here. Right at this key level. Okay. Let's get the live look. There we are. Now, in the futures, you're about to hit the 100-day moving average. Okay. So you look to the left, this was supposed to be a key support yesterday, which it did break it, but then it closed right at it, right at the 192.60. Okay. Now we just got news. and the market's pushing up a little bit. Interesting what it was. We'll look at it in a second. So now look where it's at. Now you look to the left. We have last month's lows are 186.77 right here. Okay, that's last month's lows. Now, this 100-day moving average could be supportive. Now the market is pushing up. All right. Now, let's just look at why. Market likes something that came out with data. All right, let's go to it. So let's see. Jobless claims. Let's see. Consensus 238. We came in at 235. That's a nothing burger. Let's see here. GDP. Let's see. GDP expected 2.6. Actual 2.3. Okay. GDP growth rate quarter over quarter expected to got 2.8. Okay, interesting. Interesting. You're getting some buying here. Okay, you're getting some buying. Okay. Now we're going to look at the triple-headed monster. You can see the buying right now. Okay. Have to see when we analyze it later to see what's going on. Okay, now we get right into that triple-headed monster because it's important. Okay, it's important. Those futures are lifting right off that 100-day moving average. Lifting off. Okay. This is not surprising. Let's go to that 10-year yield. Now, broke out of that range yesterday, right here. But look, we're pushing up. 10-year yield is down 1.42% because people buying bonds. Okay? People are buying bonds. That's going to send yields lower. Now, you really need to break out of this support right here, this swing low 4.14 yield to really get things cooking. Okay? But that's a significant rise. Okay? That's a significant rise in the triple-headed monster. People are buying bonds today. Now, let's look at the dollar. Dollar is in a range. Nothing to see here. Right now, the dollar is flat. It's in this range, maybe waiting for core PCE. Okay? I believe next week's FOMC. So, that nothing to see here. Now, one thing to see. Okay, I want to talk about this really quickly. It's the carry trade and why this is affecting markets. This is the yen, okay? And this is a carry trade. So what people do is they borrow yen, which is a low interest yielding currency, and they buy, let's say, dollars. Right now the yen is moving up. So this is called a carry trade unwind. Okay, yen is the second largest currency against the dollar. Okay, so this could signal, you can have some people unwinding their yen, buying yen because it's, they didn't want to get out of that carry trade. So it's a carry trade unwind. So it's just important to note that the yen is rising like that. It's called the carry trade unwind. Okay, that's just important. That's a signal market is something's happening in the markets. Okay, let's go to the VIX. The VIX is 30 days out of fear. Okay, now remember I said we get over 16, that's a 1% expected move in the S&P 500. Well, now what are we at now? 18.49. Woof. I kept saying every time on my channel, we need to get over 15. Get over 15. Well, we're at 18.5. Boy, that's some nice volatility. Okay, so now we got fear. We got people buying bonds, but the dollar's not doing much yet. Okay, so very, very interesting. Very interesting. So now we're getting to the main event: market profile, bond profile. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's look at this structure together. We'll see what happened yesterday. Okay. And where we're at currently, right? So let me move this up a little bit. All right. So first thing we do is we look at where we at with the profile, the composite volume profile of the last rolling week, right? So here we go. There's that movement, and then we got value area. Here's 70% of the trade of the last week is all up here. Okay, and I want to explain this to you. It's very important. Okay, so the most traded price of the week currently is 56.11. That's all the way up here. Now, the job of the market. Okay, let me explain volume profile to you. The job of the market is prices here, right? Values up here. Okay, that's the most traded price of the week. The market's job is to establish value here, down here. To get to go lower, you usually need to establish value here. So you need this volume to start popping out here and move this most traded price of the week down here for a potential move lower. Okay, why am I saying that? Because if value doesn't follow price, if the price can't pull value down, right? What happens? What happens? Well, it's like a bow and arrow, like a rubber band, like a slingshot. You pull it back, and if you can't establish value, you do that. Whoop. Or at least do this to that composite high volume node of 5530. That's how it works. Okay. Now, as far as what happened yesterday, okay, if you notice, if you look at this little structure here, okay, if you notice that little structure, what we did is when we opened up right here, we only went this far before we drove down. And what happened is we were gapping down at like a key level, this swing low. And then it was kind of almost an exhaustion gap where we just rode through here. And once you touch 5530, like I said, right here, you really didn't hold. If we were held here and pushed into here, oh, I would have shorted that all day. Really didn't give you much chance. And then obviously we know what happened. Then like the market kind of rested here and then broke lower. Okay. Now where did it go to? Here's a gap from the past. Okay. You went right into the middle of this gap and then got bought up into the close. Okay. That's what happened yesterday. Okay. So first of all, we got to look at some key levels. 5507 is the 50% retracement of yesterday. That's a key level. What does that happen to be? The most traded price of yesterday. And a supply zone right here. So that's key for sellers to defend that level. It's very key for sellers to defend that level. Okay. We also have an overnight session that all the way went right, look at that, went right to this gap and bounced. Now this does not count as filling the gap because it's the overnight. That does not count. But however, look at that. Right to that gap. Right? Market knows things, right? Market does things. They don't just does it on purpose. Okay? Very, very interesting. Now, what else can we surmise from this overnight session? Okay. All right. Now we came right into this demand zone. Look at that. me popping out of it, right? These are all things I'm noticing as I'm speaking to you. Okay? As I'm speaking to you. What else here? Just trying to look at the value area of yesterday. Okay. Looking at him, see if I see any levels. All right, so now you've heard me say this before. One thing here is we'll look at the inventory for overnight. So here's the open. You got this much long to this much short. So we're about 85 net short. However, look, we're at midpoint of the session. Price is here. Now price is inside yesterday's range. We were gapping down. Okay. So probability. What's probability after a big move like that? Well, after you do this and do this, we could just do this today. Trying to bring that most trader price down. Okay. Obviously, there's always a shot for us to do this, but I don't know if that's in the cards. Not sure. Okay. So now that that's being said, I've kind of got my plan. It's pretty easy, I would say. Okay. And let's get into those scenarios. All right. Let's get right into the ES scenarios. Now we're going to start with a bull scenario. Okay. Now we know we have what? Our gap. Whoa, that's too thick. We know we have our gap. It's right here. Okay. That's the gap. This would fill the gap, the overnight high, the overnight lows. Okay. So what I'm looking at is buyer stepped in here, right? So I want to see this demand zone and the gap be defended by bulls. Okay. We just came down a lot. A lot. Okay. So what I want to see is whatever we do in here, we come up into the supply zone and we get pullback into this area and we test and fill this gap. Okay. It might be exact and we just do this and then, yep, I'm going to go along and see at least if we can get up to here to the 50% of yesterday. Okay. Remember, it's not always perfect. We could also come down here like this and bounce. Okay. It's all depending of how the market is on the open. Like, how is the market? Is it super weak? Is it, oh boy, this is really weak again? Or is it like, oh, this is really not that weak? Could be a bear trap. Okay, that's all I'm interested in for the bull. Okay, now the bear. The bear. Okay, we got a supply zone right here. So obviously overnight high right here. We're almost in that supply zone right now. Not yet. Not yet. Actually, I think we just tipped. Now, again, for anybody who's new to market profile, all this is 30-minute bars. I'm going to spread it out and show you the overnight session right there. So we did just tip. We did just put our head into the supply and got selling. Excuse me. So you can see the price action, a little wild, and we came up here. Okay, so let's collapse that back and go back to the bear scenario. So first defense for these bears is right here. See, now I'm going to show you something else. This is the most traded price of the overnight. That is around 54.83. That's very important. You know why? Because this is most likely probably some shorts in there. Okay, so it's going to be a level that these bears need to defend. So what are we looking for here? So we could even come up into here and see what happens here. How do we react? If we, come up here and then go through this level, well, these longs are going to get taken out. And then we could fill that gap. Now you got the man zone, so it's going to, I don't know if this is going to be the easiest, But if you do something like this and you rip through that demand and you hold under here, well, we're going to test this demand, this next demand zone. Let me see what price that is around. That is around, starts at 54.27. Okay. Now, other than that, what else could happen? Well, this is the second line of defense for the bears, this supply zone with the most traded price and the 50% retracement of yesterday. So let's say the market does even comes down here, breaks the supply, but then comes up here, right? And now you want to see how the market does with this level. Does it get resistance right here and then it rolls over? Possible. Possible. So I'm going to look at these two scenarios to keep the bears, to keep the bears in control. Okay. This 55.30 level, woof. If somehow the bulls come out and take that level, wow. I'm not saying that happens. I'm just saying that that's probably the change of the guard again if that happens. But that's the ES, all right? That's the ES. Let's check that. Um, let's check the Nasdaq. Sorry. Now remember I said ultimate balance yesterday in the Nasdaq. That's why I was not surprised by the outsized move. They just didn't give me a perfect setup, and sometimes it just doesn't do that. Okay. So let's look at this. Maybe I can expand this a little bit. I don't want to expand it too much where I don't see, you guys don't see something. Okay. So let's talk about the structure here. Price is here, 192.07. Okay. 192.07. Okay. So most traded price is still around 20,000, still an important level. So that was an important level, right? Here's the profile. Value areas. Wow, I've never seen that before like that. Is this all value area? Wow, I don't think I've ever, oh no, right here. There's value area right there. Okay. So again, same thing. Value's up here. Market needs to build new value, or price is going to go back to value. Okay. Talked about that in the ES. Okay. Talked about it in the ES. Now, prior to this, look at this, how far we came. Now, again, this is not made up, folks. Here's a gap from the past. Look at where the market came to the top of that gap and got bought. Okay. Right there. Very interesting. Okay. So this is a gap that came down, touched it, bought. I'm not saying that's bullish. I'm just saying look at that. Right on that gap, right on the 100-day moving average like I showed you guys in the futures. Okay. These are single prints from the past. That is emotional buying in this case. That don't count until the market opens up. Okay. So these can get cleaned. All right. But we are back inside the range of yesterday. Here's the lows. Here's the highs. Here's overnight high. Here's overnight low. Price is right here. Okay. Let's look at inventory. Here's all the long. It's all the short. So we're net short. Probably 85-90% net short. Okay. So we got demand, gap, 100-day moving average below us. Okay. This is pretty balanced profile. So let's look at some levels here together. Okay, let's look at some levels. Here's the midpoint yesterday, 194.11. That is your line in the sand, the 50% retracement of yesterday's move. Okay, that's one. We also have yesterday's most traded price, which is around 193.50. Okay, that's here. And you have supply zone right here. Okay, so sellers just need to defend this big area. That's how I'm looking at it. Okay. Now, is this an all-out bloodbath? Bloodbath? I don't know, right? But this excess here, this is pretty significant. We're not down here. We're in the middle of the overnight session, but at the lows of yesterday. Okay. So it's a really important area that we're in. Okay. Now I'm trying to see a nuance here, but I don't really see a particular nuance. So we're just going to go and start our scenarios. Okay. Now this is the NQ. So let's do it. And just to note, before I start that, here was the swing low I talked about yesterday. And look what happened. Same thing. See, we gapped down. I want to show you something. This exhaustion gap, they call it. Look at all these longs. Right? I should have really noticed this a little more and maybe scaled into a position. But look at all those longs. In one day, in the overnight with Tesla and Google, you open up and you're here. That put all of these longs in pain. And then you open up and only go long this much. That's called an open test drive and drive prices down. That deserves, from my end, an options play or something I could have did. So I'll just have to note that's an outsize. That's why that move was so big. Okay, and we were in ultimate balance. All right. Anyway, let's get into scenarios. Okay, I don't even know if I put this up. I got off track there. I apologize. Let's go. Let's go. Bull. Bull. Okay. So now, same kind of thing. What do I want to see here? Here's the overnight lows. And you got that gap. And you got demand down here. Okay. I want to see what the market does with this 100-day moving average as well. Got a lot of stuff going on here. So if we come into here and we come into there, what do we do? Do we fill the gap and bounce? And that's the bounce? Possibly. Possibly. Remember, this is very important. When the market opens, if this market is not super, super weak, you're going to get some type of bounce. Okay? People are going to take profits. They're going to be scared of the dip being bought. Okay? That's really all I'm interested in. Okay? In the long. Now, short-wise, you got a lot more flexibility. Okay? Because you got this supply zone. It's got to be defended by the bears, right? So we could definitely come up into this, try to even tap the most traded price of yesterday, right? And you get like, boom, lower high. Well, you're going to come back and you're probably going to take out the longs from the overnights and at least fill the gap. Obviously, if you break this demand, you got more demand down here, and boy, that would be something if you rip through this gap in the 100-day moving average. That would be some serious selling, not just a correction, right? If you do that, that could happen. Now, the other thing is, like I said, this 194.11, I would say that's the last line for the sellers. So if we do come up here, do this, but we only say we do something like this, boop, that's a bull trap. Go under the most traded prices yesterday, and you could fall, fill that gap. It's kind of all I'm looking for today. Pretty simple. Hope that makes sense to everybody. Now, review the bonus content I gave you yesterday. Okay, review of the bonus content I gave you yesterday. Okay, here is our ES. And I just want to show you guys what I talked about. All right. Maybe white would be okay to look at. Let's see white. All right, I just heard my alert that ES is in supply zone, so that means buyers are stepping up a little bit. Now, here's your ES. Here's the 5530 large volume node I talked about. And if you look to the left, this is why. Okay? Said yesterday, ooh, if we take this, the market can move down. Now look at this pocket here. This is called a low volume node right here. Now low volume nodes can be supportive or they get ripped through. So yesterday, this was your support. Okay, that's expected. This was your support. It's expected. Okay, I didn't mention that yesterday. I mentioned the pocket, but this low volume node right here is being supportive right now, or it gets blown through. That's how it works with low volume nodes. Okay, so a little tip: anytime you see these chasms like this, that's a low volume node. Low volume node, those are support and resistance. And like I said, they can get blown through or they can hold. That's how you look at them. The large volume nodes, high volume nodes, are magnets and they usually don't get blown through. Yesterday was an exception. The market did not really wait there and then go. It kind of just ripped through it. Okay? But this is what happened. Okay? This is why we're bouncing this low volume node. Okay? Now I said the most traded price of this year is 52.74. If this market does get weak and we continue to fall, we will go here. I don't know if that happens. Okay? That's the ES. Now the NASDAQ, it did something predictable too, right? Let's bring this down into view. Okay? Let's grab my little pen. Now, here was 20,000. We were hanging out there for a while. Okay? Here was that vacuum I told you shouldn't be much resistance. Well, look what we did. We ripped right through it. I just want to show you, where did we go? Low volume node right here. Let me make that this little chasm right here. That's where we went. Okay? And now we're getting bought up a little bit. Okay, now what's below us? Like I talked about, the most traded price of the rolling year and this year. That price is 185.47. If we're going to fall farther, that is a monster level, and I would not expect the market to rip through it. It's going to probably test it, do one of these. Either you're going to go up. However, if you stay here and you go down, wow. But just keep in mind that level 185.47 is a huge, huge level in the NASDAQ. Okay? Huge. Hopefully you guys understand that. Okay? Just to give you another perspective and a different view in the NASDAQ, this level. This is the level just in a daily chart. This is that huge level right here. See how big that volume is? Okay? And we're hitting the 100-day moving average. You see that? That's what we're getting bought off, the NASDAQ. We'll have to see. We made a very large move. So, I don't know if I really don't know what's going to happen. Okay? Now remember, we got earnings, folks. The big boys still can report, and this could drive the market back. I'm not saying to all-time highs, but just keep that in mind. Okay? All right. I gave you some extra today again. Hopefully you got something out of it. I'm hoping I provide something of quality here. I believe I do. Okay? Please subscribe, set an alert if you haven't done so. Okay? Give me a thumbs up or a like if you did enjoy the content. That would mean a lot to me. Trying to help my channel, trying to grow my channel. I'm getting more subscribers. I understand some of the stuff I talk about is complex, but please ask questions. I'm happy to answer them. Okay, you can always follow me at X at Gonzo719. Okay, and we got our plan. I'm liking the plans, really liking them. right? Right now, just to give you for instance of what's changed, Nvidia when we first started talking was down I think 1.5%. It's only down 0.5%, 0.5, 0.48 as we speak. So the market is not as weak as it was earlier when we started. Does that continue? I have no clue. But that's why you do trade plans and scenarios, okay? So everybody have a great day. Everybody stay green, or hopefully you're green today. If you're not, your setup doesn't come, you do a no trade. And a no trade is a trade. Okay? You don't lose money, right? That's what I did yesterday. I just watched. All right? So everybody have a great day, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.